Good morning. Maraming salamat po for joining us. Today, we will talk about younger employees, not through stereotypes, but through data. Yung goal natin is not to ask yung question lagi ng mga Gen Xers like me, What is wrong with Gen Zs or yung mga millennials, The better question is, what are they telling us about the future of work? So, konting context po, This talk was actually inspired or induced by many of my Gen Xer friends. So, pare-pareho po ang aming mga woes, yung aming mga katanungan, regarding sa younger workforce. So most of the time, we tend to complain a lot, But most of the things na pinipitch in namin sa isa't isa are based on stereotypes, Common notions, yes, meron kaming mga direct experiences. But what does data really tell us? And what does science tell us about this issue? Many organizations are asking, why are young employees very, lagi silang umaalis, mabilis, umalis. Employees leave. Why do they seem harder to engage? Or why they want something different from work? And for many Gen Xers and senior leaders, there is a real tension. Do we enforce the style that worked for us back then? Or do we adjust to this new workforce? I think that that is the wrong binary. The better question is, which standards should remain non-negotiable and which management practice need to evolve because work and workers have definitely changed. Now, PVP is looking at this because HR Meter and eWellness Meter, so those are our proprietary tools that we use to collect our data for our clients sa kanilang mga organizations. It allows us to go beyond the anecdotes. So instead of saying, young people are like this or like that, we can ask, what do the data actually show about engagement, mental health, advocacy, or what we call the ENPS, yung Employee Net Promoter Score, retention, workload, leadership, and career growth. So we try to capture all of those quantitatively and also qualitatively through our tools. For this talk, we called out a sample from our database for the past 2 years. So pinaglaruan po namin data from a sample of 12,000 employee responses. They came from different sectors and organization types. So fairly represented naman many of these sectors. Now, this is the central message of this webinar. Younger employees are not only making employment decisions, they are evaluating whether their work is sustainable, whether leadership can be trusted, and whether they can imagine a future in their organization. One of the clearest patterns is that mental health often appears as an early warning signal. Before young employees resign, many first become very strained. They may still show up, they work hard, and still try to perform, but the psychological cost is increasing. Engagement is important, but that's an incomplete picture. Some employees, they remain engaged because they care about their work, but they are also exhausted. Now, this is especially important for younger employees, who may still be in the stage where they're trying to prove themselves while experiencing very intense the strain within their organizations. Intention to stay and ENPS or Employee Net Promoter Scores, they are different signals. Some employees may stay because they are committed, but others, they're staying because wala naman silang choice eh. No? They have few alternatives. They are waiting for another opportunity, or they're simply not ready to move yet. Yung ENPS, that's advocacy, no? It tells us whether they are proud enough to recommend the workplace. So two different things yan. We capture them dun sa aming mga tools, and then we correlate them with many relevant employee experience factors. The science is clear that high demands, when not matched by internal psychological resources, it will increase the risk of strain and burnout. Now, it's a balance kasi of the external stressors and the amount of psychological capital or resources that an employee has. Our tool, HR Meter, is showing the same pattern locally. Workload is not just an operational issue. It is connected to engagement, to advocacy or ENPS, connected to retention, and very much correlated with mental health. So, when we talk about the young employees, we should not begin by asking whether they are loyal or are they resilient, strong enough, no? Do they have the grit, no? Which parang hindi natin masyadong nakikita na daw, no? But we should first ask whether the work itself has been designed in a sustainable way. Leadership trust is not automatic, especially for the younger employees who are still deciding whether the bang organization ko, is it credible? Is it fair? Is it worth investing in? Scientific research on Gen Zs shows that inclusive and supportive leadership matters. It will shape engagement, satisfaction, commitment, performance. Our data also shows the same practical levers. Dun sa aming HR Meter, we have seen that the main drivers would include supervisory support, voice, recognition, and top management confidence. The point is not to indulge yung younger employees natin. The point is to lead them with clarity, with fairness, consistency, and we provide them with the right kind of support. Younger employees are not only asking for compensation or flexibility. They're asking whether they are growing, whether their effort is recognized, whether their voice matters, and whether they have a future in the organization. The science behind this points to recognition, appreciation, well-being, and skills as the motivational factors for the Gen Zs. Our data echoes this as well through recurring issues around career development, training, recognition, and also voice. No? Now, this is the scientific backbone of the presentation. May konsepto tayo of the job demands resources model. We call that the JDR. It helps explain why employees can be engaged and still burned out at the same time. If demands keep rising, but resources do not increase, yung strain, it will accumulate. HR Meter gives us the local organizational evidence. No? Workload and weak systems increase the risk, while support, recognition, voice, and career development help sustain engagement. A key message for leaders is this: younger employees are not necessarily asking for less work. They are often asking for better conditions, no, for doing good work. Many leaders interpret these requests as entitlement, no, but the data and science suggest a more balanced view. Younger employees are asking for clarity, coaching, recognition, voice, and sustainable workload. That does not mean that we should lower our standards. It means helping people meet high standards without unnecessary strain. Mental health should not be treated as a separate now the wellness topic. It belongs in workforce strategy because it affects energy, focus, attendance, presenteeism, performance, and retention. Science is telling us that supports this kind of link. Our data is also showing that mental health risks often appear alongside weak advocacy and intention to stay concerns. So when anxiety, depression, burnout, ENPS, and retention risks, when they appear together, that is not only an HR issue, it is a business performance signal. So to bring the data and science together, we can use a simple framework. Nasa title po to ng webinar natin, no? Stay, Struggle, Leave. Young employees, they stay when their workplace gives them support and future. They struggle when demands would exceed resources. They leave or detach themselves when burnout combines with low trust and low positive perceptions of their future in their organization. The leadership stance, therefore, that I recommend is, we label it as compassionate accountability. Compassion means we take strain, anxiety, burnout, and workload seriously. Accountability means we still uphold yung standards for performance, professionalism, and results. Good leadership has to hold both at the same time. It might seem difficult, it might seem challenging, but yes, that has got to be the way to go. Young employees stay when they can see a future, when they feel supported in the present and trust the people leading them there. Retention is not only about preventing resignation. It is about creating conditions where your employees would want to keep investing their energy. Struggle begins when employees keep giving effort. No? Puro input, but they no longer receive enough resources to make that effort sustainable. And this is where many employees enter a high effort, high strain state. They are still working, but the work is starting to cost too much. Many employees, they do not just leave suddenly. Often, they leave after a long period of staying without believing. The formal resignation, well, it may happen later, but yung psychological exit can begin much earlier. So, what can we do? The first action is to stop treating Gen Zs or millennials as one stereotype. You need to segment your data. Find out which younger employees are thriving, which ones are strained, and where the risks are concentrated. The goal is not to make younger employees more like us, more like the Gen Xers, but it is also not to adjust to every whims, no, every preference. The practical formula is clarity, support, and accountability. Be clear about expectations. Provide the support that is needed, but you have to hold them accountable, no? Responsible for their outcomes and behavior. Leaders should look for employees who are still engaged but already strained. These people may be the organization's reliable performers, but they may also be the most vulnerable to burnout, no? If workload and support system do not improve. Workload cannot be solved only by telling employees to be, you have to be resilient, increase nyo daw yung sense of grit ninyo. Leaders need to redesign work. That means clarifying priorities, improving our systems, removing unnecessary tasks, reviewing staffing, no? And creating real recovery boundaries. No? So dito papasok na yung mga practices that will contribute for work-life integration. The point is not to remove performance expectations. The point is to remove unnecessary strain that prevents people from meeting those expectations in a sustainable manner. Managers are the first line of prevention. They need to know how to notice strain, clarify work, recognize effort, provide feedback, and how to create psychological safety. But managers also need to distinguish yung distress from dysfunction, because if someone is anxious or burned out, then we should not dismiss it. But if expectations are not being met, we should also not ignore that. No? So, when we see distress, that deserves empathy. Pero pag dysfunction na, that requires correction. And often, both are actually present. And good managers need to be equipped, no, with the skills and the competencies to handle both. Younger employees need to know what growth looks like. If the future is unclear, they may start looking elsewhere, even before they become visibly disengaged. So career visibility should begin early, not only when someone is already thinking of leaving. One of the fastest ways to damage trust is to ask employees for feedback, and then you do nothing visible with it. Organizations need to close the loop, share what was heard, explain what will be done, then act. And you have to report progress back. The real value of workforce analytics is not simply, producing scores. The value is knowing where to act first, which groups need support, which drivers matter most, and whether the organization's interventions are actually working. So this is how we in our company, PVP, can help organizations move from insights to action. The process is not just survey administration, it is diagnosis, segmentation, prioritization, leadership alignment, intervention, and tracking progress over time. And that's how we came up with itong mga conclusions namin. Because when we aggregate our company level insights at the industry level, we come up with macro insights like this that I'm presenting today. So let me close with this message. Young employees are not just making career decisions. They are giving you, leaders, data about the future of work. So the answer is not to lower our standards for our younger employees. The answer is to make the path to meeting those standards clearer, healthier, and more developmental. The organizations that listen early will be better prepared to retain, engage, and protect the workforce of tomorrow. Thank you. So now I'm opening the floor for your thoughts, your reactions, your questions. And from Edward, ano pa ba dapat gawin if yung employees ay mas matigas talaga ang ulo? May mga pasaway talaga, no? Okay, ganito. Typically, ang reaction natin is we react to the person based on our interpretations of their actions. Diba? It's quite normal to have that kind of parang internal yung attribution mo, yung you're locating the cost of the action from the person. So that's why you say, ang tigas naman ang ulo dito, no? But another way to look at it is, what if the reason why they are behaving in a certain manner is because of the context? Ibig sabihin, there is something in the environment which is facilitating yung negative behavior na yan. Okay? I'm not saying na hindi siya talaga matigas ang ulo. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that consider both possibilities. Yung tinatawag nating systems perspective, systems approach. So in fact, sa mga quality management principles natin, kapag may problematic outcomes, we don't agad locate the blame or the cost sa tao. Tingnan muna natin, are the right facilitating systems and context present? Kung na-set up mo na lahat that needs to be there, and yet nandun pa rin ang matigas na ulong behavior, then that's the time you say, matigas na nga siya, Nandiyan na nga ang context, And Edward, we might need to consider as well, baka tayo, because we are part of the system, di ba? Kung ikaw yung boss, you're the supervisor, you're the manager, you are part of that context. Hindi kaya ikaw ang nagtitrigger? That's another possibility. So what I'm saying here is that ang tendency natin, the natural human tendency to locate the cause of the action towards the person, lagyan natin ng konting caution. Check the systems, the context, the people surrounding that behavior, and see what you can do there. Kasi baka wala yung context na yon. Kung hindi pa rin nag-work, the systems, the contexts are there, yun, that's the time, okay, sabihin mo na, nasa tao na yun. Maybe do some corrective action, Any other question there? Salamat for your question, Edward.
So, Doc, may question na raw po si Miss Lani. Paano raw po kapag hindi marunong tumanggap ng feedback yung employee? Like, super sensitive raw po ng parang topic. Ganun po.
Yeah, that's same thing, no? Ang question ko dyan, did we provide them with the skills, no, of receiving feedback? Kasi feedback giving and feedback receiving, may ano yan eh, may science behind that. May skills, no, that will optimize the outcome for such. So kami, for example, when we design mga performance management systems, when we create tools for our clients for their performance evaluation, kasama yan, no? We capacitate their employees, their supervisors and managers. We give them the capacity as well how to do the right way of feedback giving. But at the same time, binibigyan din namin ng skills ang mga empleyado how to receive feedback. Kasi if we rely on our intuitive, natural, human way of feedback giving and feedback receiving, nako, magulo po. No? So we have to be conscious about that. So yep, ang suggestion ko, did you train people how to receive feedback? Kasi yung natural instinct natin, it won't work in the context of developmental purpose of feedback giving sa corporate context. From Rose, oops, nawala. Ano yan? How do Sorry, hindi ko na nawala. Pero may nakita akong question from Rose.
So, ano daw po, yung question po ni Miss Rose is how do you develop grit and resilience?
Ah,
Sometimes may tasks or situations talaga na an employee needs to be thick-skinned, less sensitive po.
oo. Those skills, definitely, they are trainable. No? So kaya may mga special training for that. No? Increasing resilience, increasing grit, no? And many other, uh, we call that PSYCAP, no? Psychological capital. Kasi when you build those types of resources from within, it makes your employees stronger, no? Despite the amount of the strain that is coming in. Okay? Pero ako, ito yung better suggestion ko, no? Instead of simply just looking at how to build internal psychological capital, you as leaders should also look at how can you improve the context, the systems surrounding that. Kasi kahit anong build ng resilience, kahit anong build ng grit, sa tao, kung ang environment, no, that is impinging, no, it provides chronic, non-stop na stress, non-stop na strain, non-stop na strain due to inefficiencies or difficult managers or supervisors. Walang walang silbi, no, yung pag-build up ng resilience at saka ng grit. But I'm not saying that, of course, we ignore that. No, yes, build those capacities, but at the same time, provide, no, the supporting environment para ma-enhance, no, at ma-limit, no, yung mga strain.
So,
Thank you.
Doc MV, meron pong question si Zai Mendoza. Medyo maganda po yung questions niya. What are the ways to get honest feedback from the young generation raw po? So, mostly daw kasi is nasasabi lang itong mga problems nito is sa exit interview na raw. So,
Yes. Oo.
how raw po nila
Ah,
mapaano
Una,
without getting defensive?
I'd rather think of it as, ano ba ang climate atmosphere that you create? Why they are not able to blurt out, no? Why are they are not able to express those? Which brings us to a very important concept, psychological safety. Kapag ganun ang ma-observe nyo sa team nyo or sa department or sa organization nyo as a whole, no? When people kahit anong sabi no, na oh, nakikinig kami sa iyo, sige, speak up. Pero bakit hindi pa rin sila nagsi-speak up? There is something at play there, no? And that's where psychological safety comes in. And psychological safety is, it, ano yan eh, it comes over time. Hindi mo yan pwedeng sabihin na, oh, don't worry, walang consequences pag nagsalita kayo. Don't worry, walang consequences. Wala yan sa ganong single moment, no? It's brought about by the continued observed behaviors sa mga leaders natin, sa managers, sa supervisors, no? Pag nakikita nila, no, na sila ay hindi napapunish consistently, kasi minsan yun ang declared, pero ang observed, ang actual practice, hindi napapunished ang mga employees natin when they become creative, too much creativity, when, they speak up too much, right? Or may sinisend out na signals na yung supervisors and managers, no, na despite their words, yung implied, ang implications ng behavior, ng actions ng mga leaders natin is signaling that it's not safe for you, no, to express yourself. Right? So, it's built over time, no? Kailangan ma-establish yung trust, credibility, consistency, no, ng mga leaders natin in their actions, in their words. Thank you for that question. Magandang ayan.
So, Doc MV, meron pa pong isang question si Miss Clarissa. What's the difference daw po? Based sa naging discussion daw po kasi is na-experience din daw ng mga Gen X ang mga ito. Ano raw po difference?
Yes, that is true. Tao din tayo. Pero interestingly, our data is consistently showing na ang incidence of stress, anxiety, depression, burnout is a lot less sa Gen Xers compared to the Gen Zs at saka yung mga millennials. Okay? So, of course, you could argue na ay maraming social factors dyan, something to do with upbringing, a lot to do with, the social realities that we grew up in. Yung mga Gen Z, sabi nga nila, nung namulat kayo, paglabas nyo sa mundong ito, there is something different in the air. Ano yun? Merong umiikot na Wi-Fi. Yung Wi-Fi, it's a wave. It's a kind of light wave. It's there nung pinanganak kayo. Kami, nung pinanganak kami, wala. Sarap na hangin na ang nalanghap namin. Anyway, that created a totally different world for us, a totally different set of values and expectations. So, yes, while we are experiencing the same kinds of pressures, but the stuff that we are made up with is qualitatively different. Okay? But I'm not saying that one is better than the other. In fact, yun ang conclusion ko dito sa webinar na to, no? Ako rin may tendency din ako na to compare, no, myself, my generation with the younger ones. Bakit ganyan sila and so on. But we have to look at it in a more balanced way and look at the data and look at what science is telling us. So most of those woes and notions of the Gen Xers are just a matter, no, of reframing how we view itong mga manifestations na ito. Anything else?
May question po si Asus VivoBook 16. So, may strategy daw po ba kayo for a situation where an employee is not willing to engage sa mga interventions na ginagawa nyo to help them improve in the role?
Well, pag ganyang walang buy-in, that's a form of resistance, di ba? Resistance, the way to view it is, you have to understand ano ang mga social, psychological factors that are activated o na nate-threaten sa kanila when you present something that they are not comfortable with. Okay? So instead of forcing things on themselves, try to understand saan nanggagaling yan, no? Baka naman because of the intervention that you are trying to introduce, na-activate yung uh, nati-threaten, no, yung sense of autonomy nila or nati-threaten ng sense of status nila or nati-threaten ang kanilang sense of certainty. Kasi once you understand what is being threatened because of the intervention that you're trying to push, then you will be able to adjust your strategy and behavior towards them. Okay? Kung ang issue ng empleyado, for example, ay status, no? Nati-threaten ang kanyang, bakit mo pinipilit yan sa akin? No? Bakit wala na ba akong silbi? Hindi na ba ako? No? Then there's a different kind of strategy for that. No? As opposed to, baka naman autonomy, no? Ang nati-threaten sa kanila. So you have to give them more leeway, more. My point here is, it's not always, you push for logic to convince people to do what you want them to do. Because a lot of times, logic won't work as well. Because iba ang nati-threaten sa kanila. So you need to have these leadership strategies, no, to determine the underlying psychological motivations, no, behind the forms of resistance that you see.
So, may question rin po si Miss Jane Kuya and tanong rin raw po to ni Miss Lani. So, what are your thoughts po if nag-raise ka na po ng concern sa pinaka-head nyo about your immediate head but wala raw pong naging change?
Yun na nga yung sabi nila, dapat may regular parang skip level town halls or consultations. Kasi sometimes the issue is with your immediate boss or immediate head, no? Kaya part of a good practice, no, for encouraging bottom-up communication is to conduct skip level skip level parang town halls, no? Whereby dun sa mga sessions na yon, wala yung immediate supervisor mo. Ang kausap mo ay yung next level or even the higher level. So you can probably set up things like that. Kasi pag nandun ang all the relevant actors in a meeting, syempre ang daming mga social desirability factors at play there, no? So minsan walang nangyayari, no? Nagpaplastikan lang kayo. So kung wala pa rin nangyayari, then move even higher. Kung wala pa rin, di wala na. Umalis ka na lang.
So, may question rin po si Sir Ryan Aranya. So, ano raw po ang mabibigay niyong advice sa mga young professionals natin na nagde-decide kung mag-i-stay ba, mag-grow or live and explore other opportunities raw po?
Right. First of all, bear in mind that yung mga boss natin who are, a generation ahead of us or even 2 generations ahead of us, they are coming from a different world as well. No? So, parang ano yan dalawang aliens, no, na nag-uusap. Na nag-uusap kayo, akala nyo nagkakaintindihan kayo. But actually, in your minds, the same words, the same observations, magkaiba pala ang interpretation. So, ang suggestion ko, do take the effort and have the courage to express what you need and what you want. But not in a way as well na nakaka-trigger, no, sa sensibilities ng, let's say, ng mga Gen Xers. That's why ako ang suggestion ko lagi, it has to be both ways. The older generation has to understand their younger employees the younger employees has to understand as well, how to communicate yung kanilang needs, ang kanilang expectations to the Gen Xers without, triggering yung mga defensibilities, no? And personally, it's my own struggle as well, no? Pag nakipag-usap kami sa mga employees namin, sino nag-a-approach? Siyempre, top management. So they have a older kind of mindset, no? And ang tingin lang nila lagi is, the stereotypes. Ay, ang hina ng mga young workforce natin, without considering the fact na, teka, baka naman we created, no, a world whereby it doesn't work for them anymore, no? For example, yung concept of work-life integration. Some call it work-life balance. In the old world, walang konsepto ng gano'n, no? Kung nasa law firm ka or nasa hospital ka nagtatrabaho or alam mo yun, yung anong work-life balance, no? Kung gusto mong umangat, kung gusto mong ma-promote, kung gusto mong umakyat, no, sa hierarchy, you have to sacrifice. Well, that was how we were thinking back then. Pero ngayon, ito nga the younger workforce are saying, no, pwede pareho yan, no? And the older generation has to wake up as well. No, kailangan baguhin din natin ang mindset natin. Kaya we are always pushing for sustainable, no, na kind of approach, meaning we respect, no, yung psychological needs, yung psychological limits, but at the same time we drive for performance. Pwede naman tayo mag-deliver without the cost, no, or the sacrifice of our well-being.
So, Doc, paano naman raw po pag gusto agad ma-promote ng employee, sabi ni Miss Marites? Ano naman raw po gagawin doon?
Why not? Di ba? Kung deserving. Right? There's nothing wrong with that kind of desire. I'm sure kayo din or ako rin, o bata ka, di ba? You want, dapat mabilisan. But, syempre may proof, may evidence. Prove yourself. Yung older ones naman, huwag nating pigilan. No? Kung talagang deserve, then why not? Again, remember, we were stuck in the old ways na kahit magaling ka, hindi ka pa pwedeng ma-promote. You have to wait. No? Then may oras for that. But that was the old mindset. Okay? These days, ano yun kung deserve mo, ibigay na kaagad. Yun nga, may mga unquestioned assumptions tayo sa older generation. No? And yung younger generation, they dare bring up, no, or pinapamukha sa atin yung mga unquestioned assumptions na yan. Okay? So, my suggestion as well, no, sa mga colleagues ko, or sa sarili ko, no, na we should be open as well, no, to what the younger generation are actually signaling. We don't always have to interpret their actions using yung lens natin from the old world. We have to understand as well the lens, no, where they are coming from. And it has to happen both ways. It has to happen both ways. Para akong,
So, ayun, medyo malapit na po matapos ang ating webinar. Last question na po tayo. So,
okay.
Sabi po ni Miss Roan is how do we push for growth of an employee dealing with mental health issues without triggering distress or anxiety?
Oo. Ang first step talaga namin, diagnose. I mean, get the data. Never assume dun sa mga actions sa mga tao natin. Some may look, seem that they are fine, that they are okay, but they are very deeply suffering. So, let's be more evidence-based, no? We are always recommending, no, na bago po kayo tumalon sa mga interventions, i-diagnose muna natin, no? Get the data. Kasi sometimes you'll be surprised. No? Hindi to kasi physical na limitations or sakit na madaling makita. Pero yung psychological side, yung well-being, yung mental health natin, nakatago kasi. But there's a way, of course, to capture that. No? So once we capture that, we have data, then we tailor yung ating interventions to that. We build the individual capacities, yes, but as I emphasize, from the management side, we have to check as well, are we creating systems, practices, ways of doing that are facilitating or helping yung kanilang flourishing. No? So, both sides. Third, yung role ng managers. No? Kasi managers, supervisors, kayo ang immediate na nakaka-spot. Nasi-sense nyo siya eh. No? So, meron tayong mga training like psychological first aid. Of course, we're not saying na be like a professional, no? Kasi it takes years of training for that, no? At saka mga certification. Pero meron tayong psychological first aid whereby you can do, no, yung mga immediate kinds of actions to identify and facilitate temporarily while wala pa ang talagang professional help, no? And kung nasi-sense na natin, syempre, no, we find ways to encourage them. We cannot force people, no, to seek professional help. But, yun na nga eh, kung marunong po tayo, no, mag-deal, may tiwala sa atin, then we can find ways of encouraging them without being too assertive, no, or abrasive ang dating sa kanila. All right. So, thank you. Maraming salamat. You can send in pa rin naman yung mga questions nyo through our email. Right? And, Lord, we're going to put this up, di ba?
Yes po, we will upload this at our YouTube naman. So, if you would like to watch it again, so yun po, you can visit our YouTube page po.
Yeah. And we can also send out we're going to give you a copy of the deck, no?
Yes po.
Dun sa kasi you registered naman for this.
We will email it na lang rin po.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I would want to hear your thoughts as well, reactions, your own experiences, no? Para mabuo din namin, no? Sa mind namin, ma-validate din, no? Kasi this is what our data is saying, and this is what science is saying. Does it mirror the realities that you guys are experiencing? Okay? And do tell us, no, if we can help you or we can facilitate, no, yung mga needs of your organization. Maraming salamat.
All right. Good morning again, and thank you for being with us today. We hope you learned a lot from our session. But before we end, we would like to share some important upcoming learning opportunities from PVP. So after this insightful webinar, we'll have the AI-powered Data Privacy Compliance Masterclass happening on June 25, 26, 29, and 30 from 1 to 5 p.m. via Zoom. This program will help participants strengthen their understanding of data privacy requirements and how AI can support compliance in today's workplace. And next up, we are inviting you to join our Pride conversation on SOGI SC and Workplace DEI happening on June 29 from 2 to 3 p.m. via Zoom. Available for only $3.99 per participant, and this session aims to promote awareness and encourage more inclusive and respectful workplace practices. And lastly, we are inviting you to join our HR Analytics and Power BI for data-driven HR decision-making training by none other than Dr. Marshall Valencia. This will be on September 2 and 3 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this will be conducted face-to-face. This program is designed to help HR professionals use data and Power BI tools to make more more informed decisions. And please don't forget to follow our social media accounts to get updates and see our upcoming events. Our TikTok account, our Facebook page, Instagram account, LinkedIn account, and of course, our website is pvpi.co. Thank you again. And Lord?
So, thank you, Miss Anne, for sharing our upcoming webinars and programs. Once again, thank you to our speaker, Dr. Marshall Valencia, and to all our participants for joining today's free webinar. So, before you leave, please don't forget to accomplish the evaluation form by scanning the QR code on the screen. Your feedback will help us improve our future programs and trainings. So, on behalf of Premier Value Provider, thank you for spending your time with us. Have a great day, everyone, and we hope to see you again in our next webinar.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.